Welcome to Saddle Up Live, a transformative podcast tailored for women aged 40 and beyond, where courage, God's grace, and a touch of sass are the driving forces behind conquering life's challenges. Join me, Lesa, as I take you on a captivating ride through the multifaceted aspects of womanhood in this vibrant stage of life, covering everything from my journey through breast cancer, the intricacies of marriage, and the joys of motherhood, to the exciting adventures of grandparenting. Together, we will uncover actionable strategies for personal and professional development, providing you with the tools and inspiration needed to blaze new trails and seize every opportunity that comes your way, no matter what your age or stage. Welcome, listeners. I'm thrilled to have you here today. I've got a new friend joining me, and her name is Julie Eischens. Is that right, Julie? I have such a problem saying names, but she is the owner of, I think, 2 different OsteoStrongs. And the reason I have Julie on today is because in my journey toward living a longer, healthier life, and kind of combating some of the treatments that I've had, I kind of discovered OsteoStrong. And I have to admit, Julie, I discovered it several years ago when I read Tony Robbins' book. And I think it was called Life Force. Life Force is that book. Yeah. And he's so great because he brought all this information to people about things that you can do to help you have longevity and be healthier. And I read about OsteoStrong, and I knew that I had a bone scan, and I had what's called osteopenia. And I'm sure many of my listeners who are women who are perimenopausal or menopausal or post are aware of this. And you go get your bone scan and you see how your bone health is. And here's the thing, bone health is so important because so many elderly people lose their lives because of a break in their bone. I mean, my grandma, for instance, probably would have been a centenarian, broke her wrist, had a surgery, and that was it. So it's so important, and it's so important to feel good. So I started doing OsteoStrong, but it was a long ways away from my house. So I quit, and I made a friend do it who was already experiencing osteoporosis, and her mom was very ill with it. She actually saw a turnaround. I don't think she has osteoporosis anymore. And here's the thing. I'm like, I have to do this. And one opened up near my home, which made me super happy and excited. And I started, I know. And I started doing it because I am really close to developing osteoporosis according to my bone scan. And right now, with everything I'm doing, I just don't want that to happen. So for now, for these 5 years while I'm on this estrogen blocker, I just don't want to have a change in my bone density. But as I sit in OsteoStrong and I hear these beautiful women, they sit around and they talk about how they've reversed it. And so this is actually something, and you can go to osteostrong. I think it's .me, and you can go and look at the science about how it builds bones. And honest to God, Julie, I feel like I want to own one of these. So this is kind of a long, this is a long introduction. And when I do this podcast, I always want to get to know my guests a little bit more. So Julie, I'm so curious. I don't know a lot about you. I know that you're dedicated to helping people strengthen their bones. And I know you do hair.
Yeah.
And so can you, fill us in on what led you to be the owner of OsteoStrong?
Actually, I'll say, like, the day I met you, which was the 30th of December, I literally left the center that day thinking, like, this is a God thing, Julie. Just do it. Just lean in. Just go with it. And for sure, when you said your friend who is that, I love her. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, of course you guys are. So My first career is being a hairstylist. I owned a salon and spa for 25 years in Eden Prairie. Love it. I just love helping people to feel and look their best, both inside and out. So, speed forward, I sold my salon in 2016. I wanted to knock some things off my bucket list. One of my very good friends for 20 years referred her friend in that she had talked to me about for 20 years. And her son does security for Tony Robbins. I'm like,
Oh,
I'm like, I have always wanted to like go to just experience one of his events, right? I had watched I'm Not Your Guru. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And right up my alley. So I we ended up getting tickets. My husband and I went. He did not go willingly, but he went with me. And by the fourth day, OsteoStrong was on stage and he leaned over and was like, I think this is your next business. As I'm feverishly looking like, oh my gosh, I have to go to one, because I myself was diagnosed with osteopenia when I was 36. So I now have had it for 19 years, but my grandma, I mean, she would sneeze and break ribs. My mom had it. My aunts have it. And I knew, I watched my mom take the drugs. I knew I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do it naturally. And all my kids can tell you the day I was diagnosed, because their lives drastically changed with what I cooked. So, I came home. I researched it. I went to Rapid City, South Dakota to visit the closest one to us. And we came home and I was like, I can do this. I I had no idea why. I was just believing like I can do this, because I've had a number of people say to me, you are bringing a non-pharmaceutical thing to the state of Minnesota, who has the Mayo Clinic. I'm like, I know, right? I wasn't even thinking how tiny I am compared to all of this. But the Mayo Clinic actually refers to us.
I
They,
know. I was gonna, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's so cool. So I researched it for a couple months. I talked with many owners. I talked with a lot of people as I walked around Eden Prairie, met people. I'm like, everybody needs this. They just don't know it yet. So I'm always about doing the niche thing. Even when I owned my salon, it was all about what can we do better? What can we do differently that no one else is doing? How can we serve our guests so that they feel amazing when they leave? So it was really natural for me in that way. So we opened the first one in Minnesota in Eden Prairie, March 1st of 2019, in a snowstorm. Hence, right? But I felt so blessed because everybody still showed up that weekend. In that first weekend, I think we signed up 73 people. And by the end of the month, we had over 100. And then again, I just say, by God's grace, the Star Tribune wrote an article on us. And we were flooded, inundated. It was amazing. And then Tony Robbins is involved. He actually owns 49% of OsteoStrong. So he actually has it in all of his homes. So he wrote his book, and that was another big influx for us. And then we also were on Twin Cities Live with Elizabeth Reese, and she is absolutely amazing. And so I own Eden Prairie. My business partner, Matt, owns Egan. And then together we've joined forces to open Edina in the Southdale Medical Building and Woodbury in Tamarack Village. So, which is where you go.
I know. I love it. Okay. And you're so fitting, because my guests are people who have gone through something, or you've watched your mom and your family go through it, and you want to help people. And even with your hair, right? You want to help people feel better. I love that. So this is like women in purpose-driven businesses.
Yeah.
I adore that. And I didn't think I was going to go this way, but I am so jealous that you've been to Tony Robbins, because I think I need to drag my husband.
Yes, you
And
do.
let me ask, and this is kind of deep, and I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this. What do
No.
you, did it change something in you? And what would you say that was after you went there? Or do you think you would have done this? I mean, obviously you learned about OsteoStrong when you were there, but there
Mhm.
was also something that led you to have the confidence to take the action to open
Mhm.
something brand new that you've never done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll say like just me in my adult life, I have been on this mission of personal growth. I
Mhm.
want to be better. I want to do better. I just want to wake up being the best person I can every day to help other people feel amazing. So, really, that was my main thing. Like, yeah, I wanted to see what he was about, but his teachings, they really are, I mean, they're foundational, right? And
Mhm.
um, every family has their own dysfunctions. I call it fun, right? I mean, it's just you got to be light about it. Fun is in
Yeah.
the middle of the word,
Yep.
but it's owning it. And I've been that person in my family that's like, hey, this isn't normal, guys. Like, come on, let's think about this. How can we do different? How can we be better? How can we not get so heated with each other? How can we resolve our differences? Um, and going there helped me to gain more knowledge on how to resolve differences quicker or how to not even have them.
And what I love is it kind of is sounding like you were thinking focus maybe on family. Isn't it
Mhm.
interesting how you might go in with a focus and when you get in and that changes, everything kind of changes.
Yes. And it was so good for my husband and I, even though he resisted it a little bit. But I'm like, come on, like this is our time. All of our kids are gone. This is for you and I to discover us again, from 25 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So it has been such an amazing journey since I have gone there because now with being an OsteoStrong owner, we get more opportunities.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
yeah,
I love that. Okay,
you're
I can't help but ask because I was thinking 2019. When did COVID come in?
right. Okay, so this will just give you a little our 1 year anniversary. So and I with this business, I'm like, we're not going to do anniversaries. I want to celebrate birthdays. We're all getting younger. We're not getting older. We're just going to celebrate birthday, right? And my manager at the time and all of my coaches, I mean, they were flying all over on their winter vacations. So I was in there helping out a little bit. Plus, I was still manager of my salon that I had sold. So we're coming in, everybody's like, oh my God, did you hear? Like they're shutting this down, they're shutting that. I'm like, oh, you guys have got to be crazy. I'm like, let's just have fun. So we're going around taking pictures. I was oblivious. I mean, I had clients calling me going, Julie, what's going on? Are you serious that you're not going to be able to do my hair? And I was very fortunate too, because being a business owner in the community that I lived in for 25 years before I opened OsteoStrong, I have a dear friend that worked for the city, and it just so happened that her boss was the one making the decisions on who was open and who was closed. And so we only had to be closed for a month.
Nice.
And again, I just say by God's doing, our guests, our members are amazing people. And they were so easy to work with and go through this transition. And for us to be open, I mean, it was easy. We could have um, one person in the center at a time. However, and what made that so great is because with OsteoStrong, you really, if you choose, you only need to be there for less than 10 minutes once a week.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And
So,
we're going to get into a little bit more about that, but honey, I think you are my sister. You're my sister in Christ and
right.
I mean, I just feel like because I've always been a strong Christian and I've always been into self-growth and suddenly when I had that, when they caught that stage 1 breast cancer, that's when I went, woohoo, light bulbs on. And it's God who's leading me through all of this. And I still love learning because he's giving me all these tools, but he is the one. And so I'm so thankful that you bring that up as well. And I think we have that in common. And I love that. And I love your story. And I'm going to be picking your brain more about this when we're off the air too, because I love the business side. But I want to talk a little bit for the listeners who are maybe interested in signing up. They're all over the world, aren't they? I mean, they're in the United States, and you can go to the website and find it in your area because this podcast goes everywhere. But the thing about it that's so amazing is I bring my mom, which is awesome.
I love
And
that.
I know she's so sweet, but we go and it is truly 10 minutes. Now there's other recovery module. I don't know what the things that you can do after that I love, like the red light therapy. And we can talk about that too. But the main draw for me are there 4 or 5 machines?
There are 4 machines and then plus the whole body vibration.
Okay. So the 4 machines are the things that really get me. And I had a little bit of an aha moment yesterday because I'm always been a runner. And then I now recently have become a weightlifter. Right. And I kind of shied away from running. But then when you find out you want to build your bones, I kind of started running a little bit again, which I love. And I went on a run yesterday in the snow, which was beautiful. And then I woke up this morning and my knee hurt a little bit. And I thought, oh, and then I went on and I wanted to send my dad because he's a scientist. And he's like an 83-year-old guy. And then I just have him research. And I said, look at this, look at OsteoStrong. And I sent him the science actually behind it. And then I took a look at it and I thought, okay, this is making a little bit more sense, even to my non-science mind, is that these machines they're actually better than a run. It's kind of like emulating the process of the impact to build the bone strength. And it takes you 10 minutes. Like you go through these machines and you don't work. You could go to a business meeting after. You're not going to get sweaty, and you just go and you push as hard as you can. And you always have someone there. So you're making sure that you're doing everything right so you don't get injured. And voila, people are building muscle.
Yes. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is that when you lose bone, that's when we become flabby because your musculoskeletal system can only hold as much muscle as it is strong.
I didn't know that. And you want to know something?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is interesting, Julie. And I'm not a judger, but I went in and I look around and I'm like, well, everybody looks lean. You know what I mean? And it's not like you're in a heated sculpt class where you see everybody and their muscles are coming out, but you see everyone and I haven't seen anyone who isn't. And I'm like, why is that? And I didn't know. You just taught me that. I did not know. So you actually will stay leaner also by doing this. I didn't know that. I thought it's just building my bones.
Yeah. Yeah. And that and because we're in between physical therapy and a gym. We're our own industry right now, right? Because there's nobody out there that's really just focusing on building your bones.
Right.
And a lot of people don't like Matt was saying this weekend, 1 in 6 women have osteopenia and don't know it.
I would have never known.
Yeah. Yeah. It might be 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 women walking around have osteopenia and don't even know it.
I would say, that's probably,
It's not in our well check, if you will, that we get a bone density scan at a specific age, right?
Right.
So, and here's the other cool thing, because Matt and I also have another business called REMS Echolight, which measures your bone density. And again, just like my hair world, where I used products that heal the hair from the inside out, OsteoStrong makes your bone stronger from the inside out. So your trabecular part of your bone. And that was something I always said to my mom. I'm like, Mom, if you're on these drugs, why is it every time you fall, you're breaking a bone? I don't get it. So the inside of her bone was not strong enough. And with the Echolight REMS, I can see myself slowing. With the Echolight REMS, it actually measures the inside of your bone strength.
That's so interesting. So you're the gal with that machine, because I was interested. I will be wanting to get one in a bit. But okay. And so, Julie, are you kind of saying, and I know you're not poo-pooing medication, because I know that it's in conjunction a lot and you work with physicians. But are you saying that OsteoStrong builds the inside of the bone and makes it stronger, where maybe the medications are concerned with the outside, which isn't the root of it?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Because I did see a scientific study that showed that the impact that OsteoStrong had on bone strength was much higher than that best medication, which I don't want to use and I don't know a lot about, but that's probably why.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I will say too, because my mom stopped all of her medication right before OsteoStrong, and her doctor had said to her, like, you're out of options. You've taken everything 25 years, but she believed in OsteoStrong. I went to meet with her, she gave her all the materials. She's like, this is perfect. I'm in awe that there's actually a business that can perform Wolf's Law. So it's based off of a medical law. And so I had said to my mom, you want to be very careful this first year to not just be as careful as you can so you don't fall, because there's going to be a lot of old bone breaking away and new bone growing.
Okay. I didn't know that either. That's a good thing to tell my mom.
Mm-hmm. And so she fell 3 times, but she did not break a bone. And even all the times that she had fallen in the first 4 years of OsteoStrong, she never fractured, she never broke anything until December of 2023. So yeah, it was, awesome. And since then, with that one fall, it was a very hard fall. Like her head literally put a hole in the wall. And she fractured. She didn't break. She fractured. And then that put her in bed, which it's so crazy how quick we atrophy.
I know.
Right?
I know.
So yeah.
Yeah, we want to keep moving as much as we can. And I think, and I love that OsteoStrong. Okay, so tell me about those plates. What are they called again that you do before and after?
Whole body vibration. So we have you do the whole body vibration. We don't go higher than 30 hertz because that helps with engaging your central nervous system and your brain, connecting them, bringing them together, because I feel like a lot of us have seen that picture of like the mountain underneath the water and then the little mountain above. We live majority of our life, 90% to be exact, in subconscious.
Oh my gosh, I was just listening to Bruce Lipton talking about this morning.
Yeah. And back in my hair world, I educated that. So with the whole body vibration, before you go on the machines, we want you to be 100% conscious, aware, your central nervous system and your brain connected. So that's where we have you warm up. We usually have some warm up videos. The coaches are there with you chatting. And then you go on the machines. It usually takes about 60 seconds to do each machine. It is the safest impact emulation for getting osteogenic loading. Some athletes that get very strong bones are gymnasts. Well, when you're 60, 70 years old, we're not going to have you go do gymnastics to help grow your bones. And then you do the whole body vibration afterwards for neural inhibition. So again, like everything else in life, our collagen quits turning over. Our hair follicles aren't turning over as fast. Same with our bone growth. And so we doing it afterwards is telling your brain, this is normal, welcome it, keep it going, and help the body to recover, which then brings me into the recovery modalities that we have, which they have a lot of benefits, but the main reason we have them in there is because they do help with growing bone and recovering quickly from the osteogenic loading, because you only need to come in once a week, because unlike muscles taking 36 hours and you can go again, the bones take 5 to 7 days.
I was going to ask you, is it more beneficial to come in more? But it's not. You just answered that.
Really, it's not. In fact, after you've been going a while, like I always tell our members, don't worry about missing the session here and there, because bless you.
I'm so sorry. Excuse me. I don't know if that's going to come across or not.
No, that's okay. Because if you miss a session here and there after you've been going for a while, not a big deal. And like I always tell members too, please know that with a monthly membership, you also get 4 to 5 free sessions a year, because there are 4 months with 5 weeks. So depending on the days and all of that. But yeah, you sometimes can see greater results after you've been coming for a while and you spread it out to like 10 days.
Oh, really? I did not know that. Yeah. So that could be something in the future. Okay. Yes. I have another question, and I know this is like geared toward women, and I see women there, and it's kind of like my yoga class. Like, I'm like, I wish my husband felt comfortable coming, but he doesn't, because he feels like he'd be the weird guy there. And it would be so beneficial for him, right? Yeah. I feel the same way about OsteoStrong. Now, I know women and with menopause, and, I think it's more prevalent, but I know Tony Robbins does it. And my dad has the same back issues as Tony does. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but tell me, this isn't just for women, is it?
Oh, no. In fact, just coming off of our grand opening weekend, we had 5 couples sign up between the 2 locations. I loved it. There was one husband that went to a meeting on osteoporosis for his wife. And then after going to the meeting, he's like, I need this too. Because with another thing, like I was talking earlier about muscle, okay? Yes, we're going to lose muscle, but also our joints become weaker when we lose bone. Our ligaments become weaker when we lose bone. When I went to my training for OsteoStrong, one of the other owners was there. She put off her knee surgery by 5 years by doing OsteoStrong. Her doctor was like, what are you doing that your ligaments and joints are so juicy? I have never seen such great joints and ligaments on an x-ray of someone your age, right? So it definitely helps with back pain. My dad, my 82-year-old dad, has been doing it the entire time I've been open. And like he says, I just feel so strong. I feel so steady. And he said, he's like, when somebody walks by me, I'm not afraid. I'm not like bracing myself. And I'm like, you were bracing yourself? But that's those little fears that we have as we age that we're not going to tell our kids, right?
Yeah.
What they're going to do, make us do or not do.
Right.
So he feels strong. He's like, I think I could go and get like a personal trainer now and go start lifting weights. I'm
Well,
like,
and here's the thing about my dad. He plays tennis 3 days a week, and no one in my family can beat him. Like, he is that good. Yeah, it's amazing.
awesome.
But he has back pain, and I just can't
Mhm.
help but wonder if
It
this could help
definitely,
him. And even my husband, like, and sometimes the fellas aren't, I mean, women don't always do a lot of good self-care either, but I think we're getting there a little bit. And I'd
mhm.
like I'd like them to too.
Yeah. And this is next level self care. I was just,
Yeah.
this was my aha because when I first opened my salon, it was a salon, hair and nails, and then I added on the spa 10 years in, and I heard, oh, I don't have time for a massage, nails, manicure, pedicure, facial. I just don't have time for that. And then it got to be all the rage, like, let's do it with our
Yes.
friends, our mom,
Yeah.
right? Well, now it's on our need P&L,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we
It,
just naturally get a massage, a facial, manicure, pedicure every month, hands down. So I'm like, well, here I am, round two, here we go, next level, taking care of yourself. Come on, people. Because I was
yeah.
talking with one of my guests, and she was like, I mean, Julie, it just takes so much time. I said, well, you do realize you don't have to do the max package every month. She's like, yeah, but that's what's going to work. I said, I absolutely agree. I said, but here's the other thing. Part of what we've learned over the last 20 years is taking care of yourself doesn't always mean that we have to be doing high intensive cardio.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just being quiet with yourself,
Yep.
doing
And
these modalities.
and I've done like 5 marathons. That was my thing. And it did kind of save my head when I was young and didn't really know how to do self-care.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree with you. And I'm gonna tell you something, a little secret here. I don't get massages. I don't get facials. But this self-care with OsteoStrong, it's like from the inside. It's like it's
Yeah.
so important. And now I'm like, okay, I probably need to go get some facials and stuff too.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But red light is amazing. And
Yes.
I'll share with you, I'll just share a couple stories with guys coming because we had one lady coming for osteoporosis. And as she came her first month, she's like, could you guys help my son? Like, he's in track and he keeps having to stop because he keeps having shin fractures. And we're like,
Mm,
absolutely, because you grow most of your bone between the ages of 12 and 18. And with our lifestyle today, our kids are not out jumping enough. So there are
right.
more and more kids being diagnosed with osteopenia in their
Oh,
teen years. So, long story short, he came in, he was a sophomore. He came to us for 2 years, and his senior year won state in,
yay. Love it.
right?
Love it. I love it. And I was going to ask you about ages. And I know I have friends whose daughter keeps getting a little
Mhm.
hairline fracture. So
It would
good to
definitely,
know.
you don't have to come forever when you're that age. Like right
Right.
now, I was talking with my oldest who's going to be 30 this year, and he's telling me all of his aches and pains. And I'm like, hey, I was there. I was
Yeah.
right with you when I was 30. I said, but I am 55 now, and I feel better now than I did at 30. I'm
So
like,
do I. Yep.
right? I'm
Yep.
like, you have had OsteoStrong accessible to you for 6 years. Shame on you. Get in there. I said, and if you need me to charge you, I will. I said, but do you know how many members would love to be my child?
Right. Amen,
So
sister. Amen.
um, he's on the books now. He's been going. And I said, yeah, there is no reason to be in pain. And that
Mhm.
was an aha for me too, is that as we age, we do become in pain because we do have more pain because our musculoskeletal system is decreasing and those joints and ligaments are decreasing. So that creates more pain for us.
Yep.
And I'm like, it clicked with me where I'm like, that's why elderly people are cranky.
Yeah.
they're in pain. And they're not going to talk about it because then we're going to tell them what to do. And they don't want to hear that all the time. Right.
Right. Well,
So,
and that's that vicious cycle too of not sleeping well because you're in pain, which makes you even more cranky. And
and
yeah,
we are learning how important sleep is for us.
yeah,
Right. And our aging.
yeah,
So that's where I was like, okay, everybody really needs this. And
yeah,
it may not, like I always say to people, you are in charge of your own body. You know your body the best. So come for a couple months every week. But if you don't feel like you need it every week, doing it twice a month, you're still doing something for your body.
right. Right. I love that. And I'm looking and the time has gone over what I said it would, but that's okay because I love chatting with you. And, I think it's just, I feel like I could have a lot more conversations with you. So Julie, I think I'm going to have you back because I think this is such an important piece. And like you said, I feel better. I'm 57 and I feel way better than I ever did in my 30s. I was always achy and it's OsteoStrong and it's eating and it's trying to reduce it's so many things together, but not really. It's a little bit simple too. So I'd love to have you back and we can put our brains together and share what we've learned. But this has been so good. And Julie, tell me if people want to look into OsteoStrong, I'll get a link from you and put it in the show notes, but where can they look? It's easy to find, right?
Yeah, they can go to osteostrongmn.com. And we do have all the science on there. We actually tell people if you want to find the science, you want to Google osteogenic loading, because that is the process that we're doing with the machines, not bone density or osteoporosis, osteopenia.
Okay.
So, but yeah, osteostrongmn.com, and that'll give you everything, all the locations. If you want to sign up for a phone consult, if you want to come in for a group session, yeah, we're here for you.
Yeah. Well, listeners, if you're interested, and I highly recommend it, check it out, click in the show notes, get in touch with us. And I know it will change your life too. So Julie, thanks so much for being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Take good care.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you for tuning in to another empowering episode of Saddle Up Live. As we conclude this exhilarating journey together, don't forget to subscribe, share your thoughts, and become a valued member of our vibrant community. Because, as always, every woman deserves to thrive, flourish, and live her best life. Until the next time, saddle up and keep conquering those trails.